Hey everyone, and welcome to today's review. We're going to be reviewing a game called MiniShoot Adventures. This is easily my favorite top-down shooter that I have played in a long time. This is all part of a series where I review every single Xbox Game Pass day one release throughout this year to see if Xbox Game Pass is worth the €360 that it costs for a full year of Ultimate Edition. Let's dive in. What is MiniShoot Adventures and how does it play? MiniShoot Adventures is a 2D top-down fast-paced spaceship combat game. You fight a variety of different enemies and fight through handcrafted encounters as you play this game. You explore an interconnected open world filled with caverns, temples, and lost sunken cities, and upgrade your ship through leveling up, discovering new powers, and that is the gist of what this game is. I now want to dive in with what was good about this game, what was bad, and what was ugly. So what was good about MiniShoot Adventures? For people who are regulars of the channel, they know, first off, I'm going to speak about graphics, sound, and bugs, because I consider them core concepts that need to be mastered before you can release a game. They're the simple things, and they need to be done right. Graphically, this game looked nice, but it also was really intelligent with its graphics. It showed you different bullet types, it showed you different enemy types, all based on graphically how they looked, and it didn't tell you that, it just showed you. And I love a game that shows and doesn't tell. It's so rare to see in gaming, and this game nailed it on the head. Sound was perfect throughout this game. Nothing amazing, but nothing terrible about it either, and there were no bugs that I experienced. I do have a high-end PC, but this game wasn't a big game. It seems well optimized. I would say even a low-end laptop could run this probably no problem. So that was my experience with it. Let's dive in with what was good at its core. Starting off, the learning curve was fantastic. The game didn't just drop you in, here's 20 tutorials, here's 20 abilities, go. Over time, every 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you'll be introduced to a new aspect of the game. So you get a new ability, a new power, whatever it was, and then you would get a bit of a time to master it. And I really like that, because I hate when a game just drops 50 abilities on you. This game gradually introduced abilities, gradually introduced harder levels, gradually introduced more complex ideas, and I just think it was really intelligently done. So very happy to see that. There was a fantastic variety of enemies. I mean, constantly was just meeting new enemies over my time playing the game, and I love that as well. New boss types, different mini bosses all throughout the map. It was just really intelligently laid out. Like, the encounters were also really different every time. I don't even think there was one encounter that I was like, that's the exact same as this last encounter I just did. It was really unique. And I have to say, you can tell a lot of time was put into the enemies and the encounters, and it really did show, and it made the game an absolute blast, and it removed what ultimately is a repetitive style of game, but it removed the repetitiveness, and I think it did a great job. If you're someone who's a big Souls-like fan, or you like a challenge, the bosses were particularly difficult in this game. Like, I really struggle with the bosses. I'm not a big Souls-like person. And so when I took the boss down, and then he came back up, and I had to take him down again, and then he came back up, and I took him down again, and then he came back up, and I had to take him down again, I was like, fucking hell, 4 rounds of a boss fight, like, that was a lot for me. And I'm not normally someone who's into those kind of boss fights, but they were actually quite genuinely fun and engaging in this case, because it felt hard, but it didn't feel like too hard. Like, I would still say if you were an average gamer, you could still complete the bosses on this game. You might have to give it a good few attempts, but you definitely could. Finally, what I liked about this game too, which might sound weird to people, it gave me OG Pokemon vibes. Like, I'm talking like early 2000s, late 90s Pokemon, where you would unlock an ability hours into the game that would then help you with something at the start of the game, maybe an area at the start of the game that you couldn't have explored because you didn't have that ability at the time. And I don't know if anyone remembers playing the OG Pokemons, but like, you would have to learn cut to go back and cut something down, or you would have to get a Pokemon that is level 60 or whatever, like a Pokemon that has a high level evolution, and you have to go back to a guy and trade for a different type of Pokemon. So that was really weird, and it had that kind of vibe to it, and I really liked it. Like, it was weird, but in a good way, because it was like, okay, I've unlocked this ability 3 hours into the game. I need to go back to the starting area to explore this cave that I haven't fully explored because there's something I needed to unlock it. So that was really cool. I loved this game. I had a blast, but now we have to dive in with some of the negatives I experienced as well. So let's dive in with the bad. So I just ranted and raved about what was good, what was bad about this game. Well, the leveling up felt extremely unimpactful. The upgrades felt really good. So leveling up your gun, getting a boost, getting the ability to dash, that stuff was all really good. But the actual leveling up your character, so leveling up your movement speed, leveling up your gun range, leveling up your speed, those things didn't feel impactful. Like, if I had given you the game now and I leveled you up in secret, I don't even know if you'd notice that I'd leveled you up. I did not feel the impact of the level ups. Maybe other people did. For me, I just personally didn't. When I leveled up my gun, I could tell I'd leveled up my gun because I was rinsing enemies I was struggling with before. When I leveled up other areas of my character, I did not feel like it was helping me achieve my goals of killing enemies any quicker. The power-ups were good, the leveling up was not very good. That's one bit I was not a fan of in this game. I also didn't enjoy how the enemies played by different rules. There was moments that were quite frustrating because you get put in these really tight spaces that you have to maneuver, which is fine, that's part of the game, but the enemy could just roam around and get hit by every single bullet in the game and take no damage. And I didn't like that because I've just come off playing Blaze Blue about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage to show, but in that game, if you knocked an enemy into like spikes, for example, the spikes would hurt you, but they'd also hurt the enemy. So the enemy were playing by the same rules you had to play by, and I really appreciate that from a gaming point of view. In this game, the enemies just played by their complete own set of rules, and that was frustrating because you couldn't trap your enemies, you couldn't really play smart with your enemies, and I didn't like that aspect of the game. Now, on the other side of that, if you had made it that enemies could get hit by each other's bullets, or maybe by some of the standing characters' bullets, then maybe it would have been too easy of a game. So there is that other side of it as well, but maybe just they take some damage, I don't know, just something, because it felt really frustrating, or maybe they block each other's bullets or something so you can play a bit smarter with it, because a lot of times there were some really frustrating encounters that just felt overwhelming because you were trapped in such a small space due to the amount of bullets flying around on the screen. Finally, the story was extremely uninteresting. I've said this for a few games I've played, but I feel like it's not just gaming, but TVs, movies, there's no originality anymore, and a lot of stories just boil down to really basic storytelling and just feel lazy, uninteresting, and boring. Yeah, that's the thing, boring. I always play through the stories of these games as well, because normally I just skip the cutscenes of a boring story, but because I'm reviewing the game, I do like to sit through the story, but I couldn't even tell you a detail about the story right now, and I just played the game yesterday. So that says a lot to you about how uninteresting it was. So that's all it is for the bad. Let's dive in with the ugly. So what was ugly about this game? For people who don't know what the ugly is, because you're new, the ugly represents what I believe might change in the future of development. The bad represents what I do not believe will change in the future of the development cycle of this game. So starting off, why the fuck? Like, why the fuck is the mouse on this game just the Microsoft Windows mouse? Why have you not given it its own PNG? Like, it's just give it a picture, give it anything. I mean, make it gold. I don't care. It blended in horribly with the background a lot of times. But also, like, if I can't really show it here, but for example, if I like moved my mouse off my monitor when I was playing the game, the whole game would just freeze. Like, the game just allowed you to move the mouse onto my other monitor. I've never had that in a game. I normally have to pause the game to be able to move my mouse off the screen. In this game, you could just move your mouse off the screen. It was really, really poorly developed, that part of the game. I do think it's a simple fix, but why not just make your own cursor, essentially, for the game? It would be much nicer. It would just improve the overall experience, and it just baffled me why that wasn't done. That is literally all I think needs to change about this game. I think every other aspect of this game is really, really good. If I was giving this game a rating for its genre, and I always break games down into their own genres, I'd give it like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I think it was a fantastic time. If you like top-down shooters, you're going to have a fucking blast playing this game. I'm not someone who likes playing top-down shooters, to be quite honest with you. This game, I had a really fun time playing. I love this series that I'm doing because these kind of games that I would never touch with a 10-foot pole, I now am going and playing them and having an absolute blast. It's easily my favorite top-down shooter that I've played in a long time. Yes, I haven't played a lot of them, but from the ones I've played, this one really stood out to me, and I had a blast playing it. So if you're interested, or you like the gameplay, or maybe you thought my review opened up your eyes to this game, go and give it a go. It's a really small game. It'll take you like 10 minutes to download, and you can have an evening or two of fun with it. Maybe even a week of fun. There's probably enough content for a week. So I think it's totally worth it. I think these kind of games, we just had Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 come onto Game Pass. I think these kind of games are what make Game Pass good. Because yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a great game. I know I'm going to have a good time playing it, but the little gems that are hidden in Game Pass are what I really love about Game Pass. They're the games that make me go, oh, this is why it's worth playing. Because I probably would have bought Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Jesus Christ, I'm really stuttering over that, even if I didn't have Game Pass. But because I had Game Pass, I waited because I knew it would show up on there. But these kind of games I wouldn't touch at all, but because of Game Pass, I'm willing to give them a go. So I think that's fantastic. Look, enough of me ranting, raving, and talking a load of shit. Thanks for watching, guys. I recommend going and checking out some other reviews. If you want to form a second opinion, please subscribe. Please like if you enjoyed the content. We're going to continue this series for the whole year, and probably next year too if it does well. And yeah, thanks very much, guys. Leave a comment. Best of luck. Bye.